So Mitel Revolution, it's mass notifications for critical situations. Really, from my perspective, mass notification is a bit not quite correct because it can be mass, but it's actually notifying the right people when it matters, as it says there. It's ironic here with this is an American slide. We've got active shooter, but effectively it's a software set that will mass notify and also create awareness. So there's two elements to what Revolution is. You've got the emergency side of things, which generally you think is going to be something bad. You've got active shooter lockdowns. Something's happened, it's bad, and we have to take some action or reaction to that situation. But then you've got the awareness side of things, which I think is one of the big value adds from a channel perspective. I know some of the channels online today actually already use this product to notify their customers of upgrades and the likes. But I think the awareness side is where we can get really creative, just with things like parent notices, and not just thinking it's about alerting in a crisis or crisis management side of things. Now, Steve just pointed out that situation with the fire in that office building. Now, had there been a phone available, we could have done a number of things. So as soon as that cleaner had made the 000 or 111 here in New Zealand call, we could have an entire workflow happen there. It could also be a fire alarm that sets us off, but we could have a workflow that rang and texted all the managers, maybe created a Teams meeting or a My Team meeting for them to actually do some crisis management on the spot. That's the power of the system. We can take some parameters and add to a workflow and add to multiple workflows. But the product itself, it's in its flexibility. Customers buy it for one reason, but they then learn that they can use it for so many different ones. So as an example, in education, this could be higher education or universities alike, we can have a simple awareness of a scheduled bell. So, 9 o'clock in the morning, lunchtime is a bell. We can just schedule that nice and aware. But in addition, we can do things like parent notices. So we can fire out a text to all the parents to say, hey, look, the school bus is running late, come at 4 o'clock, not 3 o'clock. We could send out exam reminders. But then we get to that second side of things where the emergency, active shooter on site. And we can do things with that, such as lock the school doors or open them. We can send out messages to the parents. I understand there was an incident over in Australia last year where active shooter on site and all the parents come flying into the area, and it does make it carnage for the police to handle. So we can do a whole lot of different things based on the different types of products. I'll quickly go through this. Another use case for local councils. We actually lead when we have Aldrum over here, which is all the councils conference. They do it annually. So we actually lead with Revolution at our stand because it offers a completely different package and complementary to our the Mitel telephony. And a lot of the partners will actually put Revolution as part of the ongoing subscription just to be that differentiator. But what we found actually was the councils are very interested in sign-in visitor registers. Also, their own people coming into the building are registered. But additional things that they could do is, as you see, they can monitor their pumps or a valve, and if something happens, that can then send an alert through to Revolution, which passes it on to MICC. We could pull up a video feed of that pump station. We could unlock doors at the pound because nobody's there at night. But then we all have, our council people going out to, whether it's the desert over in Australia or the bush in New Zealand. If there's a man-down situation, we can have them in a geographical area. If something happens, they've got to keep pinging back, every half an hour to say they're safe. And if they don't ping back, then we can set an alert based on that. So there's lots of different methodologies for the same product. Real world, this is Gretel Packer's yacht, the Arctic P. Now, one of the partners here in New Zealand, we were the New Zealand was doing a retrofit on the boat, and the opportunity actually arose on the bottom here. They actually wanted the ability for the guests on the boat to actually order, say, food or beverages to their state rooms. But once we actually got the deal, it escalated into they had multiple different alerts from the engine room and so on, and we just added a relay to the server, and we took over their entire alerting, whether it be to a purser or through to the engineers. So that also allowed the partner to actually sell an SMB controller on board as well. So there's all these other opportunities that you can lead with Revolution, but follow down the back with the traditional Mitel products. I'll just let you have a look at this for a couple of seconds. I'm not going to talk my way through them, but there's a few interesting ones, and if you just take a few seconds, I'll give you that.
So let's now look how the system actually works. There's 4 main areas in regards to the Revolution. The first one being activators or triggers. Now this is actually what triggers an alert. So as you can see on the left hand side, it can be an alert from a phone, it can be an email, it can be a scheduled event, as we talked about with school bells. We've got APIs, we've got webhooks, we can take in feeds from social media. Then with that information, what do we do? So we can create our notification, and these are effectively endless, as we've just talked about. Your fire alarms and your emergency alerts, and monitoring different things here and there. The third component is what actually is alerted, or the endpoints that are actually alerted in a notification or a crisis situation. So as you can see there's the inherent desktop clients and mobile clients, but we can just have SMS, we can have speakerphones going off, we can have paging units and bells and alarms and wallboards and all of that kind of stuff. And the fourth area is, do we want a response, and if so, how? And as you see there, the responses can be kind of a personal side of things via the desktop. We might have a two-way audio set up immediately, going through IP speakers, and we can even get set up voice conferences, taking it a step further. A My Teams meeting or a Microsoft Teams meeting is established based on the endpoints. So if we look at our scenarios we looked at earlier of a fire, so if we had a fire scenario, that cleaner that alerted of the fire, they might have rung the emergency number in Australia 000, New Zealand 111, and that's gone from here. It's come through, it said, I need a fire alert. What's going to happen? So immediately we might do a page across the organization to say, hey, look, everybody get out of the building. It's now going to alert managers on their mobile clients and their desktop clients. We might have those managers respond, or we might set up a crisis center and have a Teams meeting pre-configured. The next situation was our school bell. So that's an easy one. We've got a scheduled event, which is just the bell timing. And in that instance, all we do is we come our school bell. We've told the system, let's just go across our analog paging and our bells. And in that instance, we probably wouldn't even need a response because it's just a bell, right? Very one-way traffic. The third scenario we looked at was of the council worker going out into the field, and he's come into a bit of trouble. He's gone outside of the wrong area. So the mobile app has picked up he's gone out of geographical area. It's sent off an emergency alert, and it's notified the supervisors via the desktop clients and mobile clients. And with that, the response from the person out in the field is they can have some two-way chat, or they could geographically show their area. And finally, we saw our nice people on the yacht there. They might be sitting there via, and in this instance, we're going to use a webhook or another hook from a relay. That's going to then go through onto the engine sensor relay alert. And what's that going to do? Well, I think we're going to page everybody, let everybody know, possibly send out some strobes and turn on a few mobile client alerts. And in this instance, we might have set up a quick conference of all the engineers. So that's kind of the methodology. Triggers, it creates a notification, sends it to an endpoint, and then we get a response. So with that, we'll just move on to an actual live demonstration.
So this is the Revolution dashboard. Now this obviously is user dependent. I'm obviously a global user, so I get a few extras, particularly with my app. So I'll just explain the screen to you, and then we'll go through a notification, see how it works, and actually go through what the user would see. So we've got a dashboard. This is customizable, so if there's certain buttons that we want to put up here, we can come along and edit those. You've got your quick notifications. These might be ones that are done reasonably regularly, so you can activate them through here. This is your dashboard in regards to where the recently sent notifications or any active ones. Obviously, they will be at the top. Any scheduled notifications, so start of school bell, and you'll see over here our recent notifications. We've had a couple of weather events, a school bell and a webinar. And we can go through to where the endpoints are around the world. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this severe weather event and how that's effectively programmed, and in this instance, what it does. So I'm going to come across the notifications, manage, and these are all the system notifications. I could just quickly add a new one, but in this instance, I'm going to come down, and at the very bottom of the screen here, you'll see demo severe weather event. You can immediately see it's text and images from a notification type. So you've got stored audio, various different likes. But I'll go through and I'll show you effectively all the triggers, the messages, and the actions required on the Revolution. So general stuff, what is it called? What type of notification is it? And as I mentioned, there's a whole lot. We can set up conferences, stored audio, answer conference. We're going to have two-way speech and all of that, but in this instance, it's text and images. Next, we go to what actually triggers this. Now, there's a whole lot of triggers that we can do. The trigger side of things, what we can have is add a new trigger. So that's a common alerting protocol. You can have the desktop app, which I've got. You can have email. You can have an IP phone. You can have the Mitel phone system, third party. So we don't. It's not a pure Mitel product. So we're kind of phone system agnostic. You don't have to. We can put this over the top of pretty much anything. It can be scheduled. It can be an email come in, a webhook. So we can add all these different triggers, and we can make it geographically relevant as well. The message details. So what is actually my message going to say? It's going to say severe weather event, get to high ground. Next up, we're going to go through what do we want to actually do in the situation? Do we want any response or reactions? And so we can have a reply. Here's my reply. I have reached high ground, and the button will say safe now and allow location. But this could also be, I could add another action which would trigger other notifications. So it's not just one, it can be a drop down. Once this is done, let's do this, and so on and so on. Endpoint selection. So here, effectively, we can do groups, do mass inbound users. You've got contacts, emails, user types. You'll see in this instance, Craig Donaghy is the only member. And how am I going to be communicated with? So internal. So that's going to be via the Revolution app. I'd get a pop-up on my screen via mobile and third party. I'm not getting an email on this one. I'm only getting an SMS, and I'm not going to do mass dialer. Or nice and handy, all of this is actually all summarized here on the right-hand side. And so I can either save and send, close it, or just save that. Okay. So if we go back to my screen here and my dashboard, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring up my mobile so that you can see what the mobile app looks like. Here is our Revolution app. When I open this, you'll see that as an administrator, I actually can do all of the alerting from my mobile as well. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to trigger a severe weather event. I get a clarification of what's going to be sent. And what you'll see is, first of all, I get the app responds, and I also get a text message as well. And so the app's telling me, get to high ground, and I have to respond. And I can say, I've reached high ground. It's then going to GPS me, and I can send that back to the mothership. So now the mothership knows that I have responded, and I've told them where I am. And to view that, I can come down to this one and view the details. You can see that's all green, there's been no issues. I've got one contact, Craig, he's a success, and I've communicated in 2 different ways, and Craig's responded here. I have reached high ground. Here's my coordinates. Obviously, if you don't have an address that's linked, or my actual address here, I can obviously find myself here as well. So that would be a quick and easy methodology. And as I point out, if we come here, thanks, Quentin. It's come through as a message as well. So you don't need apps. So in the event of emailing out or texting out to school parents, you don't need an app, which is nice. Next up, I'll just take you through a couple of little areas. I'm not going to labour this too much, but there's full scheduling. So we can see here, we've got all the school bells, and so these are the methodologies of being the awareness side opposed to the emergency side. I'll show a quick configuration stuff. You can do floor plans, you do your areas, your geographical areas, the phone systems. You've got different products, as I mentioned. It's not solely Mitel. Other product integrations, social media. So we can have a trigger to and from something like Twitter, or something comes out in the media. We can bring it in, read it, and then do a whole workflow based on that, and fire it back out to Facebook, Twitter, or set and do our workflow, which might end up being a Teams conference, something like that. We all like statuses and all that kind of stuff. So this side of things, we'd all expect the type of diagnostics that we can find here. I won't go through the reports, but the beauty of this, I think, is it gives you partners the ability to actually use this on your customers, but with them. But it is a differentiator. It definitely makes you sticky as an organisation. I was talking to Jimmy yesterday, and there was a school over in Australia there that literally, if this revolution wasn't working, they couldn't open the doors because they had integrated so many of their core systems around safety into it. So it really is a quick, simple, simple certification process. We can basically do it for you as well. But it just moves the point of just selling, our UC up against, other UCAS providers. And it's that real point of difference that I think you guys could really get involved with.